What's up, boss fam? This is your boy Dun Beezy. Today's episode of Rhythm Skating History is going to be about roller skating in Memphis. The South got something to say. Let's get it in. Before we start talking about the modern age and future of Memphis roller skating, I wanted to shout out some of the skaters and organizers who helped build the reputation of the city. Memphis is known for having amazing skaters and throwing amazing skate parties. If you read the evolution of skating, every single time somebody talks about the Crystal Palace, it's an absolute riot. That's why I wanted to read an excerpt from Otis O.D. Rowledge's chapter. He went to one of his first national skate jams at the Crystal Palace, and this is what he had to say.
Then I heard some of the seasoned skaters start talking about going out of town to skate. I was like, what's wrong with just skating right here? They replied,
Cheetah, what did you say his power level is? It's over 9,000! 9,000? There's no way that can be right!
So me and my crew were like, Ole do it, hey! Thinking we're about to go out of town and straight show our asses. Memphis, Tennessee with the Rolling Wheels of Memphis was my very first out of town skate party outside of the Texas Skate Jam with Black and the Showtime Rollers here in Dallas. When I got to Memphis, let me tell y'all, we could not even get on the floor, they were skating so fast. And it seemed like there were 3,000 very skilled skaters on the floor going 100 miles an hour. Remember, we were all new skaters, so we didn't have skills on the outside. We mostly did our line steps on the inside. Ooh. So that was my safe zone, the middle. I quickly realized what the DJ was referring to when he announced slow skaters on the inside and faster skaters on the outside. Basically, get your tail out the way, like T.I.'s crew said in ATL.
Additionally, for this video, I spoke to Lucky, Mr. Southern Roll himself, who also wrote a chapter in the evolution of skating. He talks about how the Rolling Wheels of Memphis helped lay the blueprint for what would become Southern Roll, because they were the group that was throwing skate parties and keeping the culture alive in Memphis before they picked up the mantle. This is what Lucky had to say about the Rolling Wheels of Memphis in his chapter.
Crystal Palace was infamous for its lady night on Monday night, Friday night late night, and Sunday night live. These were the best nights in the city, and it was clear that the Crystal Palace had great management. I developed a mad love for Memphis skating. Crystal Palace also had a group of skaters by the name of Rolling Wheels of Memphis that hosted national parties for years. The Rolling Wheels of Memphis skaters became renowned for their routine skate style of skating in the middle and around the ring. They were also known to bring skating and unity to the skate floor. Every year around Halloween, the Rolling Wheels of Memphis threw their national party, which brought in different skaters and DJs from many other states.
I learned about the Memphis style when I made the rhythm skating map, because one of my homegirls, Ebony, she was like, hey yo bro, she don't really talk like that, but anyway, there is a style in Memphis known as wall riding, and I had never heard about wall riding before. I practiced Memphis juking, but I did not know about Memphis skating, so I did a little bit of research. I messaged Lucky, aka Mr. Southern Roll himself, and I got myself an introduction to the Memphis style. Lucky was born in Chicago, and he was taught how to skate by Michael Winfield. He grew up as a speed and style skater, and he said back in the day skating was so big that they would skate 7 times a week. He even used to deliver newspapers via skateboard or by his roller skates. Well, Lucky had some family down in Memphis, and he used to visit him, and he fell in love with the bounce, fell in love with the culture, fell in love with the city, and he eventually moved down when he became an adult. Well, one day in the early 2000s, Lucky was doing some traveling as a roller skater because these roller skating jams have been happening for the last 20, 30, 40 years. And back in the day, it wasn't the social media age. But what he noticed is there would be an event on the weekend and people would come from states around in order to attend the event. And that's when he was like, man, there is a huge opportunity in this. So he comes back to Memphis and he starts throwing his own events. These eventually turned into the Southern Roll Skate Gym, which is still happening to this day. The skaters down in Memphis exemplify the effects of a positive skate community. In addition to coming together to dance and have fun, they serve the community. Sometimes they have different community service initiatives like car washes for the elderly or food drives for the homeless. And it's absolutely amazing to watch people come together like this. Memphis skaters are also featured prominently in the movie Uncorked. Uncorked follows the path of a young man whose father owns a barbecue shop. The whole family works there and he's slated to take it over. But he doesn't want to sell barbecue. He wants to make wine. Well, he has a love interest in the movie and they go on a date to the skating rink. And the skaters down in Memphis showed out. They really do what Memphis does and made it do what it did. You feel me? Well, this is super duper significant because although African Americans have been some of the most fervent and consistent skaters over the last 100 years, the media doesn't make it seem like that. And now that puts Memphis up there with cities like Atlanta and Chicago who have accurate representations of the skate culture on film. Well, in order to understand Memphis wall riding, you need to understand how the rink is broken down. In the rink, there's the inside and then the outside. When you're standing on the inside or inside the inner ring inside of the rink, that's known as the middle work or the inside. On the inside of the rink, people do different dance moves, they battle sometimes, and during family sessions, this is the designated area for children and slow and inexperienced skaters. After the adult session, though, it's a crapshoot. You don't know what's about to happen to you on the inside, so you really kind of got to watch your back. Anyway, on the outside, that's where people skate around the rink. And there are two levels to the outside. There's a line in the middle of the outside designating the slow and the fast area, because the farther you go out, the faster you're supposed to skate. The thing about the outside and the rule about speed is depending on how you're skating and depending on different routines that you're doing, sometimes people will skate at different speeds on the outside. For example, sometimes people will slow walk on the very outside of the rink. You'll see them like actually on the wall. And something that you really realize after you do it, it's actually more difficult than it sounds to skate along the outside of the rink, because a lot of times you get some slow skaters stumbling around there, you get people looking lost jumping on the ring, you get people just kind of meandering around. So it takes a lot of control and focus in order to skate around the outer rink. Wall riding is a style of skating that originated in Memphis. People wall ride in groups. Inside of the group, people do synchronized footwork. The footwork starts off when the leader calls it and the group responds. The type of footwork and the pattern that people do changes depending on the song. Like the other styles on the style skating map, the roller skating style in Memphis is heavily influenced by the music. In the South, the music is slower, it hits harder, and it just has a twang that you can't get anywhere else. And you can see this when people wall ride. Wall riding is a technique where people skate around the outer rim of the rink and they do synchronized footwork, and it pairs amazingly well with the beats of the South, because there's something different about rocking left and right and moving together with somebody depending on the song that is on. It's in the oscillation. Well, the way that wall riding works is in the group there's a leader, and then there are the people who respond to the leader. The leader does a footwork, and then everybody does it with the leader. The pattern of the footwork changes depending on the song. Historically, middle work has not been a large part of the Memphis skate culture. However, with the rise of different skate jams and the transfer of knowledge, more people are starting to focus on middle work. Lucky even describes it himself. He was like, hey man, back when I was skating, people wasn't in the middle like that. But these days, you're seeing more and more people on the inside. Speaking of the inside, there is a type of skating that originated in Memphis that is focused around middle work. Juking on skates. To understand what juking on skates is, you have to understand what juking is. Juking is a dance that originated in Memphis in the 1980s. In the past, there was a cool way that gangsters and pimps used to walk, and this became known as Gangster Walking. As the younger generation adopted Gangster Walking, they added different elements of hip hop like tutting, glides, pops, and toe stalls, and this combined to create what would become modern day Memphis juking. Memphis juking is the most known unknown dance style in the world. It's extremely mainstream in the sense that mainstream dancers like Ayo and Tayo borrow heavily from juking. Additionally, people around the world do different dance challenges that are juking footwork, but they're completely unaware of what they're really doing. In its purest form, juking exists as its own culture in which people have different practice sessions, ciphers where people come out and they show what they got, as well as battles. Well, Eli Skate God, he's a high-level juker and skater. Juking on skates began to gain more traction when Eli Skate God began to appear in parts and at different events juking on his skates. One thing that really served as a catalyst was a big cipher that he did with famous jokers like Drine, Future, and even G-Nerd, in which he comes out on his skates and he really captures the move, the look, the bounce, and the feel of the dance, because that's what's really important. You can learn how to do the choreography off of the internet, but it takes another level of dedication and practice to truly get the spirit. Well, this lit the juking world and the internet on fire. Now there's a Juking on Skates page, and different people who've been juking on skates for years are starting to connect, come together, and put our heads together.
Memphis juking on skates has existed unofficially for years. But now with the power of social media and the power of connection and the power of the internet, more and more skaters are learning about juking, and more jukers are learning about juking on skates. And I can't wait to see how these two worlds continue to build and what's gonna come out next. But anyway, boss fam, I know I wasn't able to mention everything and all of the players in today's video, but I did my best. Until next time, see ya, boss fam.